I spent a year learning n8n and I made $0, while my competitors who started months after me were landing $5,000 clients. Dead serious. See, I thought the whole point of AI automation was to build agents as fast as possible, book demos, land clients, get paid. But see, I couldn't explain to business owners exactly how it would improve their business and how it would do so. And that's where I went wrong. See, you can't have a good AI agency and you can't build good agents without understanding workflows. But people tend to skip learning workflows because that's the boring part. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about workflows and n8n in 2026 if you were starting from zero. Let's get into it. Here's what I did wrong, and a lot of people tend to make the same mistakes. I spent months watching tutorials on building agents, and I built a bunch of practice workflows, and I ultimately just copied what other people were doing. But see, I was learning the tools, but I wasn't solving problems or learning how to solve these problems for businesses. And the solution to like business owners' problems is not AI, it's what AI could do for them. AI is the tool. So I never learned how these workflows actually worked. I kind of just learned here are the nodes that you need to build them, right? So I just skipped straight to the hard stuff without understanding the fundamentals. So it's kind of like building apps without understanding APIs. And because of this, I couldn't necessarily explain to business owners the value, right? So I'm building this agent for them, and I can't explain to them how much money they're making or saving, how much time that they're saving, or how it just perfects the work that they need to have done on the back end parts of their business. And that's ultimately the goal of AI agencies and AI solutions is you find a leak in a business and you fix it using AI. So when I tried to sell it, business owners didn't care because I couldn't say, hey, here's the problem and it fixes it. I was saying like, hey, I built this AI automation, AI, AI, AI. And that word tends to scare business owners away. I just had this cool AI thing, and people just don't understand that, especially business owners these days, especially older business owners. So, why everybody fails? Most people do this. They call and they say, hey, I have an AI receptionist, not, hey, I have a system that allows you to never miss a call again and books everything automatically. So, a lot of people just want to build AI agents because that's what gets views and it's impressive, but impressive, cool, flashy things don't pay rent. If I were to start over, this is exactly what I would do. There are 3 layers to automation, and I would learn the 3 layers in order. It's very important you do so and you practice each layer before moving on to the next. And the first layer is basic workflows. These are very simple automations that don't use AI to build, and they usually just take care of one leak in a business. An example was a $3,000 roofing system I built. This is a lead qualification system, and a form goes in, and the workflow checks if they're in the service area, and it will send all of the higher value leads directly to the owner on Slack, and then the lower value leads just to a sales rep. And it takes 10 seconds, and qualifying each lead used to take their sales team 20 minutes per lead. So this saved them an extreme amount of time. And numbers don't lie. This basic automation delivers 30 to 200% ROI in just the first year. Um, Most small businesses don't have this, and they're manually copying everything to Google Sheets or Excel sheets or whatever it may be. And if you go to these businesses and you say, hey, I have this lead qualification system that'll increase your ROI by 30 to 200%, they're gonna want a demo. They're gonna want to learn more. Simple as that. The second layer is AI assisted workflows. So it's ultimately the same thing, but this is where you add AI and you personalize it. So we take this exact same workflow and you have each follow-up email personalized based on whatever email was sent to them or whatever was said on the form that was sent to them. And it just says like, hey, I saw you mentioned leaking in the kitchen, rather than like, hey, are you interested in the roofing system? Blah, 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 blah. And this allows you to get a higher response rate because it's personal. Um, and it's really just not a full agent. A lot of businesses don't need full agents, like AI receptionists and things like that. A lot of businesses don't get enough calls to need something that complex. They really just need a simple task automated for them. And the third layer is AI agents. So these are systems that are making decisions, they're using tools, referencing memory, and they're adjusting daily based on context. They are harder to control and they do break more often, and they also need constant maintenance. So the difference between the two is AI agents, you're more so babysitting them. The more AI you add, the more it breaks. Which means you're doing a lot of maintenance for the monthly retainer and you're working on that one automation instead of working on landing new clients. So I would personally work on workflows just so it's something built and it just runs automatically and you don't have to sit there and babysit it or have your clients call you all the time because something keeps on breaking or working the wrong way. So these are 5 skills that actually matter whenever it comes to workflows. The first one is JSON. A lot of people tend to get scared of JSON because it looks like a bunch of code, but in reality, it's just a lot of variables. And the more you look at it, the more easier it is to understand. It's very much just simple English. So like color equals blue, size equals medium, price equals $99. And it's very, very easy to read. And the more you look at it, the more it just makes sense in your head. The second skill is APIs, and this is really just how data is moved between tools or certain automations are called and things like that. And this is probably the most important because like all n8n automations are ran off of webhooks. And they allow different platforms to work within each other because that webhook gets called for that automation to run. And ChatGPT does a lot of the documentation for any tool. You just need to ask it. And you could also connect these tools to every platform you could think of. Not just the ones that n8n supports. Like, for example, like n8n has a Google Calendar node, right? As long as you could get the API keys from whatever n8n doesn't support. I don't think they support Outlook. If you could get an Outlook API key, you could have Outlook instead of Google Calendar. And, especially if you're working with medical clinics, you need to make the API keys public and create variables for the n8n to call that, because any medical clinic does not use any cloud-based calendar system. If somebody tells you that they built something for a dentist office using Google Calendar or whatever, they're lying to you. It's a lot more complex than that whenever it comes to anything medical with HIPAA. The third skill is error handling. I built a workflow for a client without proper error handling once because it was ultimately the same automation that I built for another client, and it worked fine in testing, but I didn't test it as deep as I should have, and that's on me. And once it went live, it broke on day 2 because somebody submitted a form with the phone number area empty. And of course, that made me rebuild the entire thing, and I look like an amateur, and I don't want you to make the same mistake. Skill 4 is webhooks. Instead of n8n reaching out to another tool, this is whenever something calls n8n to run the automation. These are very important to learn between post and get and things like that. And then the last one is context engineering. A lot of people talk about prompt engineering, but see, context is the important part, right? So It's more so like, hey, this is for a dental clinic. Hey, this is for a roofing company. Here's everything you need to know, blah, 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 rather than you are an AI receptionist, blah, 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 blah. It's important that your agent knows the details. I've seen workflows where the AI was supposed to categorize support tickets, but nobody gave it actual categories, so it was just making things up. So be very careful with that whenever it comes to context engineering. Everything needs to be there. And again, like the model is not magic. It's not going to get everything completely right. It only knows whatever you tell it. So it's important that you tell it everything, all the right details. Um, and the more you give it, the more it knows. So if you were to forget something, it could route back to other information and ultimately come up with the correct decision. And yeah, just master these 5. Um, and 90% of workflows use the same 15 nodes on n8n. So, I mean, if you just know those 5 things, you'll be able to build anything. So, how do you actually practice? Okay, stop looking at tutorials, quit downloading people's templates. You're not going to learn anything by copying what other people do. So, I do something called the 20/40 rule, and I spend 20 minutes max on the tutorial, and then I try to build it on myself for 40 minutes without referencing anything or just like slightly referencing if I forget something. And this allows me to actually understand what I'm building and think about what I'm doing while I'm doing it rather than just join this school community for free, download this, copy and paste it in, and then it doesn't work the way I need it to work. An example was when I was building my first receptionist. I downloaded some type of JSON from a school for the automation and it was in the wrong time zone. And I didn't understand how to fix it because there were 2 separate places I had to change the time zone on 11 Labs and on n8n and was a whole thing. If I would have built it myself, it would have taken less time and I would have learned more than trying to figure out why it's scheduling everything for Central instead of Eastern. Um, and you'll notice what I said about the 15 same notes. 90% of these workflows all use the same, and eventually you'll just know it like the back of your hand. Big thing is build what runs while you sleep. Like I said earlier, AI is something that needs to be babysat, and automations are things that just run all the time. And occasionally you might have to fix some things here and there, but that's okay. But stick with the automations that you just set live and run. You know, it's just a pain and it's not worth money to sit through one client's automation, feeding it more information and just waiting. It's just easier to build automations in AI. So, yeah, systems that run 24/7 made me $15,000 last month. Systems that need me to click through buttons made me 0 because I stick with automations that just run on its own. And that's where you scale. That's where you're able to get new clients and build other things. If you're too busy just sitting at one client's automation throughout all your time, you can't find new clients. You don't have time to build things for new clients because you're so busy babysitting one AI. So, what's worth automating? Anything that is repetitive, time consuming, scalable, anything that a business can make money, save time, or perfect. That's what I would stick to. And if it doesn't check any of those boxes, it's not worth it. No business owner is going to want to spend their money. Right? Business owners are selfish. They only want things that's going to help them. Next is map it before you build it, which is a huge one. Like the example I gave you before. I found an automation on YouTube, went to the school, downloaded it, pasted it in, and it was just the wrong time zone. And I spent 8 hours trying to fix it, was driving random nodes around because I didn't know exactly what everything did. And I finally fixed it, I launched it, and it broke in 2 days. So now I always plan for at least 30 minutes before I build anything. I map it out on paper before I even touch any of it. And this is just something I do as simple as literally a list with bullet points. 1, do this, webhook it's called. 2, goes to the prompt. 3, checks availability. 4, books it in. And then 5, if they need to edit it. 6, if they need to delete it, etc., etc. And then each of those have little sub-bullet points of what I need to do. So write it out and make it a little checklist if you have to, and just check off one thing at a time. That's what I normally do. And your first version will break. AI is very tricky. Automation is very tricky. I spend more time testing than I do building now. And things just aren't going to be perfect the first time around. Sometimes I have to delete nodes and add new ones and reconfigure the whole thing. It's just it's code, it's software engineering. It's not easy. Everybody says it's easy, it's not. And then find weaknesses early. The more weaknesses you find, find weaknesses early. The more weaknesses you find, the stronger the automation will be. And just track everything. Every single issue you find, write it down, and then once it's finished being built, go through each one, cross it off. As you fix it, sometimes you need to fix something else before you go back to the one error. Just I write everything down, even the errors. It's the easiest way to track anything. And, build guardrails so some errors don't happen again. Like I mentioned before with the form, all I had to do was add something where certain areas can't be left empty. Something as simple as that. Now, turn it into money. Like I said before, clients, they don't understand tech talk. They don't care about tech. They don't care about how many nodes you have in the n8n. Okay, they don't care about this, that, and the third. They just want to make money, save time, or make certain jobs more effective. So, the 3K lead system, like I said before, for the roofing company. Simple as the form comes in, it either gets sent to the owner or the sales reps. This turned a 10-minute process into 10 seconds. Something as simple as that, and they paid me 3K for, because it saved them time. On top of that, whatever he was paying the sales rep, 3 leads for an hour of pay, let's just say $20 an hour. That $20 an hour that he's paying the sales rep can be handled just for the qualified leads that the automation sends them. You want to sell the outcome. Again, I'm not selling you an automation with this many nodes, it's going to take this many hours to build. I'm going to sell you something that'll qualify leads in 10 seconds rather than 20 minutes. Or you ask them, how long does it take you to qualify each lead? Oh, it takes me 20 minutes. Oh, well, I have a system that'll do it in 10 seconds. Next, we have start with MVPs, most viable product. Simple as they just need something for their lead gen to make it more effective and faster. That's what you build them. Something as simple as that. And this took me about 5 hours to build, including planning, testing, all of that. Paid me 3K up front and a monthly retainer. And it saves their junior accountant 15 hours a week on manual data entry. They don't care how you do it. They just want it done. So, like I said before, you're not going to them, I'm going to sell you AI, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm going to speed up your lead gen. This is going to save you 15 hours a week. And AI is my tool. Simple as that. Then expand. Don't try to just do it all in one day. Build something that gives them value. Get a testimonial. Get referrals. Track all of their data. Show them the data. That's a big thing. If you want to keep somebody paying monthly, you need to show them the data before they implemented your thing, after, and then with how much time they saved, money they made, etc., what they're estimated to make or save 3 months from now, 6 months from now, etc., and that's going to make them want to continue to pay. Some business owners might not fully understand that or see that because they're busy doing other things. If you put it right in front of them, they'll be able to see that rather than just the, $1,000 a month coming out of their account. So I always send them a 30-day report and just This saved you 34 hours. That's $1,700 in labor cost. And you're charging them $1,000 a month. Oh wow, like I'm making $700 more off of that. And like I said before, build trust and get referrals. You're not going to get referrals and you're not going to build a good business if your automations don't work, if they don't give them results. So always focus on giving your clients the best possible results. Right now, you have two options. Option one is just to dive right into it, spend months in tutorial hell, build things that break, don't fully understand what you're building, and wonder why you're not. And the second option is start simple with workflows, build boring automations that get you paid, and only implement AI whenever it is needed. So if you want help landing your first AI automation client in 90 days, click the link down below and apply. I only work with 5 people at a time, one-on-one. And the reason I do this is because I'm very picky and I don't want to waste your time or mine. So only apply if you are serious. Now, if you're just here for the free content, I post free sauce here all the time. So I will just see you in the next one.